Keep scrolling down. We have veins. For every single artery that you have, you're going to have a vein. So therefore, if you have renal artery, you have renal vein. There are some exceptions to that. So as long as you remember the exceptions, then you will know all the veins. So let's take a look at the exceptions right here. What is the name of the vein that collects all the blood basically from your head and your neck? The jugular vein. In the case of the artery, it's not called jugular artery, it's going to be called common carotid artery. Okay, so that's the part that you need to understand. There's one right here, basilic vein. We don't have a basilic artery. Not only that, we have also in here cephalic vein. You can see it, cephalic vein. Cephalic sounds like head, right? But that one is in your arm. We have a brachial vein because we have a brachial artery. Remember, I told you, for every single artery, you have a vein, right? Radial artery, radial vein. Ulnar artery, ulnar vein, right? But I'm showing you here again, as I mentioned before, the exception, right? If we keep scrolling down, then you have right here in the legs, but we have this all the way up like that. That one is the great saphenous vein of your body. Let me see if there's a figure right here. And here's where you're going to have your heart more or less like that, and your lungs are going to be in here like this. Right? So then in this case, they remove all that. So you can see that there is this set of veins on the back, which is all this one. You see these big veins right there? Those right there? Those are going to be called the azygous veins and the hemiazygous veins. So what returns the blood to your heart? The inferior vena cava and the superior vena cava. Yes, that's true. But there is a very important backup to these systems, which are going to be what? The azygous veins and the hemiazygous veins. You see, they return the blood from the bottom right there and from this part right here too. They eventually drain to the vena cava right here. Okay, very good. So then that's that. So I hope you understand. So in here we cover this, right? Again, as I told you, you have a splenic artery, a splenic vein, renal artery, renal vein. Okay, so histology of the blood vessels. So the blood vessels have three main layers. So let me see. And the layers are going to be called tunicas. Tunica interna, tunica media, tunica externa. So then how many layers we have? Three. So if you really think about it, what are these three layers? Well, the one on the inside, the one in the middle, and the one on the outside. Because tunica interna, the one on the inside, tunica media, and tunica externa. What is the name of the hole in the blood vessel? The hole is the lumen. Then what is this then? This is the wall of the blood vessel. That's the wall of the blood vessel. This is the wall of the blood vessel. If we compare relatively same size of arteries and veins, then the lumen in the veins is larger. The lumen in the arteries are smaller. The walls in the veins are thinner. The walls in the arteries are thicker. The amount of muscle in the arteries is all this. So the tunica media contains a lot of muscle. In the case of the veins, only this much muscle is there. If you can see here, the arteries are very round like this, right? So let's say they are like a perfect circle, let's say. What about the veins? No, the veins are more kind of like undulating like this. So that means that the veins, since they are like that, they are going to be more elastic in order to have this curve right here like that. The veins can take these weird shapes like that. Then obviously the veins are more elastic than arteries. Okay, so there's a whole bunch of elastic tissue right here in veins compared to arteries. However, arteries have more muscle than veins in order to maintain this structure that they have. Now, one last thing about this is comparing more or less same size artery and vein, right? Because for example, if we get a vein in here that is this tiny, then obviously you're going to say that the lumen in the arteries is larger than in veins, right? But that's not the case, right? If you compare more or less same size, lumen in veins is larger, lumen in arteries is smaller. Walls are thicker in arteries compared to veins. Veins are more elastic. Arteries are less, they are more rigid. Veins also show something in here called valves. Obviously this figure doesn't show it, but veins, large veins show valves in there.